The cries of a newborn echoed through the bright, sterile hospital room. A young woman, Amora, exhausted yet glowing with the joy of motherhood, held her child close. Her heart swelled with love as she studied him, soft skin pale as milk, eyes squinting gently against the light. He was perfect to her. But she also knew deep inside that this child was different. Her husband, Chaik, burst into the world a few minutes later, his face flushed with anticipation. But when his gaze fell on the child, his smile froze. His eyes darkened as though the life had been drained out of him. What is this?" he stammered, stepping back. Amora frowned. "This is our son, Chaik. He's healthy, thank God," the doctor said. But Chaik cut her off, his lips curling with disgust. "He's not mine. Look at him. My blood could never bring this kind of shame." The room fell silent. Amora felt her chest tighten, tears welling up, but she clutched her baby closer, whispering, "He's yours, Chaik. He's ours." Chaik turned and stormed out of the hospital without another word. That night, he didn't come home. Amora prayed silently, rocking her child, hoping her husband would return with a softened heart. But the next morning, her hope was crushed. Chaik returned, not with flowers, not with apologies, but with another woman. A younger woman with painted lips and a sly smile. He didn't even look at Amora as he barked, "Pack your things. You and that thing are leaving today." Amora dropped to her knees, begging, "Please, Chaik. He is innocent. Don't do this to us." But his eyes were stone, cold and unyielding. The woman at his side smirked. With her baby in her arms and tears streaming down her face, Amora walked out of the house she had once called home. Outside, under the harsh sun, she raised her trembling hand and cursed him, her voice breaking. "Chaik, the God of the innocent will judge you. One day, you will remember this child you despise." Life with her mother was far from easy. Amora scrubbed floors, sold vegetables, and carried loads in the market just to afford food. Her son, whom she named Chidubem, "God leads me," grew in hardship. But the world was cruel to him. Children mocked his pale skin, calling him ghost, white rat, and worse. Strangers whispered and stared, some refusing to let their children play with him. Every insult was a wound, but every night Amora's voice soothed him. "You are special, my son. You are light in a dark world. Never forget that." And Chidubem did not forget. Through his pain, he found strength. He studied harder than anyone, clinging to the dream of one day proving them all wrong. With determination burning inside him, he gained a scholarship, then graduated with honors. Years later, he wore the white coat of a medical doctor, respected and admired. It was a rainy evening when fate brought the past back. An ambulance rushed into his hospital, carrying a frail, coughing man. Chidubem, now tall and commanding, walked into the ward to check on his patient. The moment their eyes met, time seemed to freeze. The man's gaunt face was older now, etched with regret and pain, but unmistakable. Chaik. His father. Chidubem's chest tightened, his heart pounding as old wounds ripped open. The man's lips trembled, but he said nothing. He turned his face away, shame burning in his eyes. Later, word spread that the man in room 12 was Amora's husband. When she heard, Amora hurried to the hospital. She entered the ward and saw him, thin, wasted, eyes wet with tears. The sight of him weeping shattered years of anger in her heart, yet she stood firm. "Amora," his voice cracked. "Forgive me. I was a fool. I destroyed everything. Please, don't let me die with this guilt." Her hands shook, but she turned away, tears spilling down her cheeks. "You threw us out like trash, Chaik. You chose pride over love. Do you know how many nights I cried? How many days our son starved? You don't deserve forgiveness." Chike sobbed, but no words could mend what had been broken. That night, Chidubem entered the room. His father looked up at him, eyes swollen from crying. The young doctor stood tall, his white coat gleaming under the light. "You called me a curse," Chidubem said, his voice steady but heavy with emotion. "You threw me and my mother out into the cold. You hated me for being born. Do you know what that did to me? Do you know the scars I carry?" Chike bowed his head, his shoulders trembling. "I was blind, my son. I see it now. Please, forgive me." For a long moment, silence filled the room. Then, with a deep breath, Chidubem whispered, "I forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because I refuse to carry your hatred in my heart." His father broke down completely, clutching his son's hand as though it were the last rope of life. Together, Chidubem and Amora tried everything to save him. They fought against the cancer with medicine, with hope, with every tool they had. But after weeks of struggle, Chike's body could no longer hold on. He died, his hand still in his son's. At his funeral, Amora stood quietly beside Chidubem. Her heart was heavy, not with hatred anymore, but with the painful knowledge that some lessons come too late. Chidubem placed a flower on his father's grave and whispered, "You rejected me in life, but in death, I pray you find peace." And as the wind rustled the leaves around them, Amora wrapped her arm around her son, holding him close. He was no longer just the albino child. He was proof that love and resilience could outshine rejection and that forgiveness, though bitter, was the final victory.